William Hill sponsors Joshua vs Barker live on Sky Sports Box Office.
Thanks for waiting, everybody. 21 fights, 21 wins, 20 KOs.
Yep.
And now 4 belts. The reigning WBA, IBF, WBO and IBO heavyweight world champion. We're open the floor to questions.
Anthony, in a way, is going the distance for first time, getting that out of the way, that expectation about knocking everyone out in every fight, and a relief in some ways?
In some way, you can say so, yeah. But at the same time, it's boxing, it's 12-round fight, so if I saw boxing as knocking people out all the time, I think my coach would never push me to do 15, 16, 17 rounds when I'm training. So I do understand it's a 12-round fight. And Klitschko, 11 rounds, Takam was 10. So we've always been in the realms of going 12 rounds if we need to. And today was the first time and we coped with it well. So on to the next now.
Anthony, there's been a bit of criticism from the park camp as well about the ref ranking you guys up. What did you make of that?
I've always said it like this. I think that sometimes the judges get complaints by fans and fighters. Sometimes the ref get a hard time from fans and fighters. But I don't really like to, put a bad name on the refs and judges because they're there to do their job, and Parker's trainer should have advised him of ways to avoid getting disciplined by the ref and getting told off by the ref. So that's his job, not to kind of go against the referee, find a way to go around the referee and what he's doing. So it's not my job to kind of disrespect the referees and the judges.
And I think Parker was happy to hold as well.
Interesting.
Given your height and reach advantage, do you think that Parker could have done more damage if he had more of a chance to get inside?
I think when we did get inside, I was swinging along with him. The only time I wasn't swinging is when I did swing back, then the ref kind of, remember when he pulled us apart and told us don't let that happen again. So I kind of abided by his rules. But if he wanted to fight on the inside, it would have been no issue with me because we can do that too. So either way, whether it was long or short, I was comfortable in both positions.
That communication from the ref, was that in English or?
Yeah, all English. He spoke to us before in the change rooms, gave us a set of rules, and there was no translator, all in English.
Yeah, I'll just clear up that comment, I think, from Kevin Barry's team that the referee didn't speak English.
Yeah.
Well.
The entire talk in the change room for about 2 minutes of the rules was in absolute perfect English.
If you check my website soon, there'll be a little behind the scenes clip and they'll probably put that part in there when they speak in English. Make sure you check out the website, guys.
What do you make of the fact that Kieran's saying that there's a language barrier?
What do I think about that? I think it's hard to please everyone. His first language probably isn't English, but he is fluent in English and he does speak it. So yeah, maybe he hasn't got a Cockney accent, but he can definitely speak English well.
Basically, they conceded that they were very gracious. They conceded they were beaten by a bigger, better man on the night. What are your thoughts on Joseph from our perspective, just in terms of being taking the 12 rounds and going to war with you?
It's difficult when someone comes and's backing up a lot of the time and so on and so forth. But so be it, history was made. Joseph played a massive part in this, his whole camp did. And I'm honoured to share the ring with him. And what's interesting is Joseph won't give up now. Do you know what I mean? He's still young, competitive. And I think we'll definitely see Joseph Parker again. But as you said, I think just on this evening I was more focused, more disciplined, and I carried out the tactics and I was a better man, it seemed.
Do you think the 12 pounds lighter made a big difference to your stamina throughout the fight, and that there wasn't that dip this time at all, maybe through the middle rounds that we might have seen before?
You got to be clever in boxing. Dipping doesn't mean that you're tired. Dipping sometimes means that a opponent is waiting for you to tire, so they take time off as well. So sometimes you kind of match their energy. If it's a fast pace, you've got to go with it, and if it's a slower pace, you've got to dip a bit. So yeah, the 12 pounds is good for this type of fight because it was a lot more controlled and I was a lot lighter on my feet. And I honestly do think though, for someone like Takam, luckily it was Takam, 18 stone was fine because he was a short opponent and we sat on each other's chest for a little while now and again. He wasn't a boxer like Parker, so boxing for boxing and the speed, the lighter, the sharper, it worked out well. So adjusting weight for different opponents is a blessing.
You don't seem elated. Are you happy with it overall? Are you going to be critical of yourself?
Yeah, critical, and I'm not elated because, you know, I don't let the highs kind of get to my head. Do you know what I mean? And I always think that we've got to go again soon. If I was retiring on this high, I'd be like, yes, I'm the man, because you retire on a high. But I've got to kind of defend my throne again in a few months. So I'm kind of balanced, and we're still hustling. So yeah, we're on to the next one in my eyes. It's not time to sit back and enjoy the ride. We've got to get ready for the next job.
You sound like you really want the next one to be Deontay Wilder, AJ. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
How did you see that? How soon on?
I think like 2018 was always a time to capture all the belts, and we're one away now. And like, it's been a big question that was asked after the fight, and I spoke about it then. And I just said that I'm not into the business of hype, talk. And I'd love to kind of maybe go to America with Eddie or Rob and, you know, look at the landscape and see how serious they are, you know, and deal with this behind closed doors, because a lot of negotiations can go on over social media and YouTube channels and stuff. But I think that in terms of when you're doing serious business, you have to sit down in confidential privacy and discuss terms and conditions and so on and so forth, and then we can see how serious people are about taking fights. But credit to Parker, credit to Duco Events. They came, they stepped up, they tried, and you know, they'll live to fight another day. But this is what it's all about, right? And this is what we're doing. So you can see our side is serious about what we're trying to achieve.
Eddie, do you think the Wilder fight will happen in the summer or in the?
I think it has to happen in 2018. Otherwise, we're going to have some major problems with the politics and the military. So it's just a case of whether it happens next, or if we fight in the summer, or if it happens in December. Like AJ says, if they stepped up and actually were serious about the fight and serious about a deal that we're more than fair to offer them, it could happen next. But with them, they're so erratic and unpredictable, I don't know what to believe.
The old John King quote is, you don't get what you deserve in life, you get what you negotiate. To get him over here, you're going to have to pay him more than you may think he's worth.
I don't agree with that quote. But AJ is constantly...
Do you know what it... Yeah, because I think it's the same thing always, like...
Yeah.
Like,
he has to do that all the time.
So that's to say, let me get every single one of these belts now, and then I'm going to be one of the most powerful men, you know, sitting on the side of the negotiating table. So why do I have to do all this work to still have to give someone a bonus? Or can I get a bonus now? Do you know what I mean? Can I get a little pat on the back now? So that's how I see it as well. It's a bit of a catch-22.
From the debut, we've had to overpay. And it's gone all the way up to the 21st fight, and
it's tough.
Now you flip that Don King quote and say, no, he'll get what he deserves, because he hasn't worked this hard to get all these and to get the position he's got in the atmosphere tonight. Just to give, you know, he's not a charity.
But just one other thing about Deontay Wilder, if I can. He has made a very unfortunate remark in the last 24 hours, talking about wanting another body on his record. Do you condemn that?
Hey, Deontay. Nah, I don't condemn that. But each their own. Same with the judges and the refs. It's not my job to kind of talk on what they do. It's Wilder's Wilder, isn't it? That's what you're going to get. So yeah, that's what he wants to do. I wouldn't want a body on my record. Yeah, as I always say, I say my little prayer in the corner. I pray for success, and I pray for, you know, his health, and I pray that he'll be safe once he leaves. And I made sure I spoke to Parker's mum before she left and say, you know, pat your son on the back, he's done well, and he'll be back. And that goes a long way. So why do I want to kill her son in the ring? Do you know what I mean? But each of their own. For me, that's not who I am. But for him, let's not belittle him for what he says. That's who he is, and we accept him for it.
And so if you do fight Deontay Wilder,
yes,
would you like it to be over here in the stadium
100.
rather than Vegas?
Okay, me personally, yeah, but we have to see what's best as a team. Do you know what I mean? But me personally, it is really good in the UK. It's comfortable. time zone is what I've been used to for most of my life. You know, I haven't got to travel loads of hours across seas and disrupt my sleeping pattern and stuff. So I think for those reasons, I like the sound of fighting in the UK. But if there was a healthy offer or something on the table, then it would make sense to go, wouldn't it? But there hasn't been that, so we're comfortable in the UK while we're doing what we're doing.
Anthony, how determined, how hungry are you to add that final belt to your collection, do what nobody's done before in the heavyweight division, and take it on?
If I'm honest, my hunger is more so about improvement. You know, I'll get all 5 of the belts. That's not an issue. But it's about improving for me. So my hunger, honestly, that's why I'm not elated with like all these belts. I'm not like, wow, I got the belts, I'm the man. It's like, where can I improve? And that's just how I am. That's how I am. So yeah, I'm more interested in improvement because the better I am, the more untouchable I become, the easier it is to get my hands on these belts. So yeah.
And your rise over the last 6 years has been meteoric. London 2012, multiple world champion. How do you reflect on that journey, and where do you see it going from here?
How do I reflect on it? I've had like people like Rob in my corner, you know, backing me when people wanted to write me off, and then that was a blessing. So like, you're asking me a lot of the questions, but these guys up here know a lot about me and what happens behind the scenes. So I give credit to these guys as well. And that's what I think is that we've always been in it at the deep end, and there's always been high expectations. And that's why don't let it bother me, don't let it faze me. And I just focus on improving because I know the expectations of what I can achieve are very possible and are very capable. But without the dedication, the discipline, I won't be able to bring them to reality. So I keep my feet on the ground. These guys work me hard, and that's why I don't get carried away. And I think sky's the limit for what we're trying to achieve, you know.
Selling out 3 massive stadium fights in 11 months. Do you feel the magnitude of what's going on in this country around you?
It's not just around me. Remember, look at I always say, look at the whole show. It's an event. It's an event, the whole event. So it's not just about me. You got the Commonwealth Games coming up. I'm behind all these boxers. You got young boxers, Boatsy coming through tonight, Cordino, all these guys, David Price and Povetkin. It's phenomenal. British box. Eddie's doing a great job at promoting. Freddie's doing a great job at managing myself, telling my story to a completely different audience that aren't diehard boxing fans. It's amazing what everyone's doing. So I bring 20,000. Rob's a boxing historian. He's been with Carl Froch. He done the show at Wembley, so he brings 20,000 people that have supported him. Eddie brings 20. Freddie tells us everyone plays a massive part to bring this together. So it's not just me. I play a small part in this big puzzle.
Anthony, what did you think of Povetkin's knockout?
I didn't see it yet. I haven't seen it yet, unfortunately. But everyone wants Price to do well. And that's what's good about the UK fans, isn't it? Everyone wants to see him rise again. So well done to Povetkin. And it's hard luck to Price, do you know what I mean? Because that would have been a good win for him.
Eddie, what's the situation with the mandatory?
He'll be our eventual mandatory. It hasn't been called yet. But at some point when a mandatory is due, Povetkin will be the WBA mandatory. The IBF have ordered Pulev against Brazil. WBO, I'm sure, will order another one.
That's why you're saying that Wilder fight has to happen this year.
Yeah, because at some point you're going to have to drop a belt.
Yeah.
And the whole point of the Wilder fight is to win the final belt. So we don't really want to drop a belt and then fight Wilder, which still happen, but it's not quite the history fight that it could be.
Are you ruling out a rematch with Joseph Parker?
Talking to me? Well, yeah, definitely, yeah. I mean, look, as Anthony said, he's 24. He's going to come again. He wasn't good enough tonight, but he's a very good fighter, and he has a good team of people around him. He has a lot of support. He's a very nice young man, and I'm sure he's got a few. We need people like Joseph Parker in the division. The more people that are active and good quality heavyweights, the better.
Rob, how do you reflect on Anthony's performance today?
He stayed calm, got behind the jab, got his left up working. Parker wasn't really there for the right hand. He knows what he's doing, Parker. He's a really solid contender. But I thought he was professional, Anthony. He saw some of the heavyweights in the past win the fights behind the jab. and that's what he did tonight. And I felt he did a good job on negating Parker and cutting him off and winning out a comfortable winner. So I was pleased.
AJ, you did a good job of cutting off the ring and cornering Parker. You seem a little reluctant to throw the right hand. Am I reading it wrong? Or?
Yeah, you're reading it right, actually. I wouldn't say it was reluctant, but when something's working, why try to change it? You know? So, I knew how to break Parker down, and I knew how to put him in a position where he couldn't do much back. Throwing the right hand at times would have been in a position where he could have countered me, so I hold it back and continue working that left hook, and that's why the lead hand was the most important hand in this fight. Swinging the hook as he came here and ramming that jab as he came. Every time he came forward, I would just ram that jab in his face. And every time I threw the right hand, he would slip down to his left, and that's why he was ending up underneath my arm, because I was going like that, and he would just duck and end up underneath there. So what I started to do is throw the jab, and as he would dip because of the right hand, I was swinging that left hook there, and that's why this wasn't in massive action tonight, because he wasn't in a position for me to throw it.
Do you think you heard his market check?
You'd have to ask him, but I know that I was supposed to be in with the fastest heavyweight in the world, and I beat him to the majority of punches, and a strong puncher. I was supposed to be a strong puncher, and I took some of his shots. The referee went to break. He swung a big left hook and caught me. Didn't do me any damage. He was supposed to knock me out tonight. Didn't happen. And yeah, actually, forget the humble shit. I did hurt him a few times, and I bust his eye as well. So yeah, that's it.
Eddie, when will talk start with Wilder? What's the sort of path now in terms of getting his fight?
It's not really about Wilder. It's more about us sitting down. We'll sit down over the next 2 weeks and plan out the rest of 2018, whether there is that fight in the summer and so forth. And Rob will analyse everything, and the training team done a brilliant job. AJ did 12 rounds tonight, wasn't even breathing. So it's really his call on how many times he wants to fight this year.
Anthony, how frustrating is it for you that the Wilder fight keeps getting mentioned? You guys have put the offers to him, so they haven't given you anything back?
It's not. It's probably, look, we look at history. History repeats itself. It's not the first time. Look at Riddick Bowe, Lennox. Shit happens, isn't it? It is what it is. This is just boxing. So we'll ride our wave while we're here, and soon be forgotten about in the next 10 years, isn't it? So we do what's right for us, and that's just how it goes.
Eddie, there's been some wide criticism of how wide the scorecards were. Do you think that may play a factor in how willing Wilder is to come over to the UK? Somebody's mentioned before.
Can you confirm the scorecards?
119, 109 and 118, 110 twice.
118, 110. Yeah, I gave Parker 2 rounds. 3 rounds tops. 3 rounds. 3 rounds. Yeah.
I didn't give him one.
No, not many. Some people didn't give him one. He didn't. You can't say he grabbed a round by any round by the scruff of the neck. I mean, there were rounds where you might have given it, but he wasn't trying to win the rounds.
Anthony, was you nervous for the first time when you went to the scorecards, waiting to find out, or did you know that you had the result?
I knew. I wasn't nervous.
Anthony, you said you hurt him. Did he hurt you at all?
No, not at all. No, not at all, actually. But I knew that he could if I made mistakes, because boxing sometimes isn't just about having brute strength. It's about like the shots you don't see coming as well. Hence why I think you asked me why I wasn't throwing the right hand, because he was trying to set traps, but I wasn't falling into his traps. So yeah, I didn't give him an opportunity to hurt me.
Did you feel any pressure to continue the 100% KO ratio?
None at all. Look, I'm not Mayweather or nothing, but you've got one of the guys that you call the best ever and so on and so forth, went 12 rounds the majority of his career. So it shows this about boxing IQ. As I said, like when Parker said in his fight build-up, this is going to be a war, I said, okay, interesting, because we've been working on technique improvements, and that's what boxing is about. Before the war comes, you have to box, you have to be able to control your opponent, and sometimes if it gets a bit sticky in there, you have to dig deep. But I knew that wasn't the route we was going. It's about being intelligent. So 12 rounds is fine with me, and it's not about the 100% KO record at all. It's about securing these and winning and being victorious. Boxing is tough because there is no space for mistakes. you know, you lose and the next man's sitting here getting praised. So it's just getting that W on the record and trying to progress now. I've got a bit of time and work on the basics and go again and display some good boxing skills with whoever I fight later on in the year.
AJ, you have spoken to Joseph's mum. Have
Yeah.
you heard from your mother tonight?
No, not yet. Not yet. She was expecting a knockout though, to be honest. She was. She said 2nd or 7th. I don't know if she had a bet on or something. She messaged me and said, I want it in the 2nd or 7th. She did. I was like, all right. So, yeah. That's what she said before the fight. But no, I haven't spoken to her just yet. But I try not to like involve the family, like my mum, too much, because when I go home, I try and leave all this at the door and just have peace at home. Do you know what I mean? You know, because sometimes it's not always good. Sometimes people say bad things and so on. So I just try and leave that at the door. So when I'm at home, it's like my place of peace.
And that she watches the fights very closely at home on television?
I think like she'll definitely, you know, have the fight on, but whether she watches it, I don't think she can. That's why I don't like my mum coming, because it's a tough place to see your kid go to war. You know, so yeah, I'm sure she'll be happy that I'm all right and that I'm not dead. You know what I mean? I'm sure she'll be happy I'm fine. You can die in the ring, innit? You can die. That's what Wilder said, isn't it? So
you mentioned your development. Are you happy with how you're developing, or is there a lot more to come?
There's a lot more to come, but I haven't got the time. So we've got to kind of roll with the punches, you know? Roll with the punches. So yeah, I definitely am developing, but like, remember my amateur career was what, 3.5 years? I think this October will be 5 years as a pro. Yeah. 5 years. So a lot happens quickly. I always saw the pro game like an Olympic cycle. I turned pro 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 we got our hands on the belt, didn't we? 16. So yeah, I see it as this. If you turn pro 2012, yeah, we did it early.
Under 2 years since you won the world title.
Yeah, so we're always ahead of schedule. But I could have been sitting back having low key fights and learning my trade. But as I said, with boxing, I've always put my heart on, you know, put my heart on my sleeve and just showing it all to the world, the good and the bad. You saw with Klitschko, it was a tough fight we came through, and that's how it's going to go, I think. So you guys will enjoy, because I'll always be honest. I'll always give you who I am and my best. So everyone's going to enjoy this journey, because you'll see the good, the bad, the ugly, and long may it continue, I think. I'm not done. I think I've got a lot of years left in me. If I can keep on controlling fighters like that without taking too much punishment, I should be around for a long time.
Anthony, the 3 fights, Klitschko, Takam and Parker.
Yes.
Can you rate the 3? 1 to 3, best to...
What, most entertaining? So.
Oh, no, it's just...
Toughest. Klitschko. Oh, that was a good scrap. Really good scrap. And then it's interesting. Takam was, I think because of my weight, like carrying that size, it was a bit different. But we got him out of there. But then he split his eyes because maybe the power shots were a lot heavier. Maybe the shots were a lot heavier on his eye. So I would put Takam second because of you know, how much it was on my body. You know what I mean? But this wasn't a lot better because I was looser, relaxed. So yeah.
And in terms of the game plan tonight, how would you rate yourself out of 100%?
I swear to you, it's whatever Rob says.
What's that, Rob?
Tonight? Yeah, I thought he was good. I thought he worked the jab and the hook. The right hand wasn't really on. Parker was negating it and looking to lean down and whatever. I thought he boxed really well tonight. I thought I'll give him a 9 out of 10.
Maybe we go back and if someone slips, we jab, feint, and then go again. Maybe we work on this next. Do you know what I mean? So there's still room to work on dealing with fighters like that. So we can take something away from the Parker fight and work on it in the gym. You know?
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
No problem. Thank you very much. Thank you.
William Hill sponsors Joshua vs Parker live on Sky Sports Box Office.